Good morning, everyone. Today we'll be having a very short session on the topic staffing. Now, to be very clear with what this means, we first have to get clear with many misconceptions. Many students have come to me asking, aren't staffing and hiring and placement and orientation the same thing? Now, this is something that we'll have to clear in this particular session, where do understand that they are not the same thing. What we'll be going through is the definition of each one of them so that you can be very clear as to what each one of them mean and the difference between them. So, to understand staffing, the first thing that you'll have to know is the definition. And the definition is basically understanding what the process is like. It starts off with manpower planning. Now, if you remember in the organization phase, we had actually made the skeleton, and the company had decided that we need so many kinds of people at so many different points in our organization. Staffing is a process where you look to fill that up with the required people. Now, first step, understanding the manpower requirement includes one very essential thing. That is, it includes each of the project managers or the heads to have a direct and constant talk with the hiring manager so that they can discuss two things with them. One, they can have an analysis of the workforce, that is the current set of people, how many people do we have currently to finish off the work, and two, what is the current workload. Once you make an analysis of both of these and compare them, you will know that you are either overstaffed, which means you have much more people than is actually required in the company, or you'd realize that you are understaffed. In such a situation, you'd go to the next phase, that is the recruitment phase. Now, in recruitment, the core thing that you have to remember is it's not the same as selection. It's not the process of picking people up. To understand the concept of recruitment best, think of an example. Imagine you are in two situations. In the first case, you need to select two people out of three. Option B, you need to hire two people itself, but this time you have 2,000 people to select it out of. Where are you likely to get the better candidate? In most cases, you're likely to get the better candidate in option B, which is when you have much more people to select from, you're likely to get the better resource. Now, in order to get so many people to select from, that's where recruitment actually kicks in. Now, recruitment in the simplest form is just increasing the pool from which you can select. It can be done via branding, where the company's employees itself tell that it's a wonderful place to work and ask more people to join or to apply at that company. Or the most commonly used one, which is advertising. You put up a job post on, say, Monster or LinkedIn or even in the newspapers, and you get a huge number of people to apply for that job. Once they've applied, then you actually have a much better opportunity to find out from these 2,000 people who are the best too, and go ahead and get them into your company as soon as you can. Now, the next phase after recruitment is what most people are very familiar with, that is selection. Now, selection can be done in multiple ways. Some of the most common ones are having written tests, or having group discussions, or having the final face to face interview. Each one of this is a process that is designed to find out who is the best fit for this particular job. Placement and orientation are once you've decided that this person is the one that we need to actually pick up and take into our company. Then you'll have to go into the process of making them very clear as to what the job entails, what they're expected to do, who their boss is, getting them familiar with the office setup, all their colleagues, and the office environment in general, making them very clear as to what all of this is so they can be a perfectly productive person. Training and development is the next stage where, even though you were the best of the lot, there might have been things that you might have been lacking, and this is what the company looks to fill via training and development programs, where you'll be having an expert coming and explaining certain things which your manager believes you are slightly deficient in, such that you can become that perfect productive employee. The next few points are performance appraisal, promotion and career planning, compensation. These are things that are done at smaller companies. They're mainly looking at, once a person is into the company, what else can you do in order to ensure that as a human resource they can develop, they can move to their own individual higher stages, such that they are individually happy and they are more of a contributing resource. Nature of staffing, it is obviously people centered. It's a responsibility of each manager to ensure that they speak to the hiring managers and tell them that this is my requirement and this is by when we would be needing these people. Continuous function, it basically states that this is one of the few functions that never ends, because you always have people who are coming into the company, who are leaving the company for various reasons, so that gap would always be there. So staffing looks to plug that gap, where anytime you have a person who is moving up the ladder or moving out of the company, you are looking to fill that hole up with either an equally good resource or an even better resource. This is one of the functions that ensures that the other functions, that is the planning, organizing and the directing, is happening well, and it is one of the key and most important functions that are there in the core functions of management. Hope you have understood every single thing that we've discussed today. In case you do have any doubts, feel free to drop a comment and I'd be happy to get back to you. Or you can drop me a message on LinkedIn. I should be able to get back to you in possibly 24 or 48 hours.